More Gospel, chapter 7, an attitude of gratitude. Now, on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priest." As they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." Luke chapter 17, verses 11 through 19. Leprosy was a really bad disease at the time of Jesus. It was a painful, degenerative disease which was also very contagious. In the years before your death, you had to live apart from your family and friends in a colony of lepers or by yourself. It brought despair and death to many people. Jesus met 10 lepers who begged him to have pity and help them. Jesus sent them on their way, and as they walked along, they were all miraculously healed. One of them went back to Jesus and thanked him for his healing. Jesus asked, "Where are the other 9?" Which seems to indicate his disappointment in the other lepers' lack of gratitude. He accepted the thanks of the Samaritan and sent him on his way in peace. My dear friend, do you have an attitude of gratitude? Are you quick to thank people for small favors throughout each day? Or do you take for granted the kindness and goodness that surrounds you each day? What kind of person are you now, and what kind of person do you want to be? I knew a nurse who worked in a senior citizen facility. Among her patients were 2 Catholic priests who were both bedridden. Their attitudes were polar opposites. One priest was thankful for everything the nurse did for him. "Thank you for the clean sheets and fluffing my pillow. Thank you for the glass of water. Thank you for supper. It was tasty. Thank you for my medicine. Thank you for your smile and your prayers." It was a daily litany of thanks, and it made life better for both of them. The room of the other priest was filled with criticism. He had a critical spirit, and he let it loose on the nurse constantly. She dreaded to see his call light because she knew that it meant another scolding was coming her way. In his opinion, she couldn't do anything right. It made life more miserable for both of them. These priests did not suddenly possess these opposite attitudes. They developed these attitudes over the course of their lives. How does someone develop an attitude of gratitude? It starts with our attitude toward God. When someone realizes that his very existence and everything in it is completely dependent on God, he naturally thanks God constantly. That is the key. Acknowledge God as God. Acknowledge yourself as God's creature. When a person truly realizes his radical dependence upon God, then thanksgiving and praise flow naturally. As one thanks God continually, he develops the virtue, a holy habit, of gratitude. That virtue will expand to include all the people God puts in our lives. Grateful people bring light and joy to life. A critical spirit is a downer. It develops from an attitude of self-sufficiency. This superiority complex manifests itself toward God by refusing to accept his laws and live by them. It says, "I'll do it my way." Naturally, one's attitude toward God will extend to everyone else in life. There won't be many thank yous spoken because there isn't any gratitude in the heart. Jesus said, "From the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks." The choice is yours. Will you develop the virtue of gratitude or the vice of a critical spirit? They say that practice makes perfect. Which attitude will you practice today? That's the kind of person you will be tomorrow.